Let's talk about 5 of the most common, popular, worst technologies out there. Billions of dollars have been spent marketing all this stuff to make us think these products are great, when really they're pretty terrible. And I've gone 5 for 5 on this list. I've bought every single one and use it for years. And a lot of these things on the list I still use today, embarrassingly enough. And chances are, I would say a lot of people watching this video will go 5 for 5 on it as well. But I think we know kind of what we're getting into. But I think there's going to be some surprises in here for you as well. Many things that you're going to be like, oh, that is just downright terrible to the consumer and borderline illegal in some instances. So let's get into it with a bullet. Number 1, well, we're going to actually count down from the meh to, oh, those really shouldn't exist. And the meh starting out is going to be the Ring doorbell. Ring doorbell, I've used it. Here's me in front of my house. The Ring doorbell, absolutely terrible. This thing, oh, I just can't. It just, every single time, it loses connection, batteries die, I've switched it and hardwired it in. I've done it all on this doorbell, and it's just absolutely the worst. This doorbell has had a whole host of problems just from a technical standpoint, and I have a really good network mesh set up. I have a Ubiquiti access point mesh with a controller controlling it all, so it's not like it's some residential BS Linksys Netgear kind of router. These are full-blown access points that only handle it, and this thing still loses signal. It'll be delayed sometimes. The servers are just yuck. And I've done the hosted plan, the premium plan, all that, and yeah, the Ring doorbell, terrible. Pretty much any other solution would be better than the Ring. And then you take into account a lot of the privacy concerns with them working with authorities and also getting hacked. There's just a lot of bad things going around the Ring to where it definitely classifies as some of the worst tech out there that many of us fall prey to. Number 4 is easily probably one of my most hated on this list, actually. I know for many, this is definitely not going to be the case, but for me, the Amazon Fire Stick. I absolutely despise the Amazon Fire Stick, and I want to just show you, I have purchased it several times in several different models just because I was like, okay, everyone's buying this thing. It can't be this terrible. And, well, it is, but let me get you to the desktop and kind of just show you my purchases. Now, here on my desktop, you can see back in 2018, the Fire TV 4K I purchased, and then all the way back in 2017, I purchased the old school Fire Stick as well. I just wanted to kind of show these 2 purchases because I wanted to give you kind of a little mini review here of both of them and my experiences. Now, the cheap Fire Stick, I think I got this for almost like $20 or something, just basically giving it away from Amazon. And it had all kinds of stuttering issues. It never worked quite right. And then finally one day it was updating and it just bricked itself. And there was just no getting it back. So it was just thrown in the trash. Now, I will say most of the problems with the Fire Sticks are from Amazon software that's on them. They purposely throw a lot of stuff on them that it's just slows it down, makes it clunky, or just as a blatant advertisement to advertise other Amazon products to you. And that's basically what these sticks are for. They basically give them away at cost just so they can advertise more and get you into that Amazon ecosystem. And probably why I hate them so much, because I've tried to basically root these, and I have been successful in rooting them, but it required soldering and like jumping the clock jumper to the ground and then rooting it in that method. Most people, like probably less than 1% of the people, could be able to do this. And then on top of that, a lot of people would brick it. So it's not really worth a video. I just say stay away from these things. They're just terrible when it comes to the Fire TV sticks. The tablets, on the other hand, I've made an entire video, and I'll link it up here, where it shows all the things you can do to remove all that Amazon junk and actually get a functional tablet out of a cheap piece of electronics. So not all Amazon stuff's terrible and can't be fixed. Some of it just starts off terrible, but can be fixed. However, the Fire TV, I will never buy another one of these again in my life. I have one remaining in the house, and I hate it every time I'm on it, whether it's on Plex and all of a sudden it's unable to transcode my movies because it's playing through there and it just doesn't have the horsepower to do it. Or, it just, frankly, spooling up YouTube videos, sometimes you get that stutter effect at the very beginning because it's just not able to handle that type of video, which is ridiculous when that's its sole purpose. There's no reason for that to happen when you have Roku and many other companies that just do a far better job. Number 3 is going to be the Beats headphones. Now, this is kind of something that just kind of popped up in the community post I made. Hey, tell me your worst. I've only bought one pair of Beats headset, and it was for my wife. She does admittedly like these headphones, albeit they're cheap to make and expensive to buy. It's the epitome of an Apple product in that they cost about $20 to make, and they usually retail starting at $100 and go up from there. And it should be no surprise that they were bought out by Apple, I think like 5 or 6 years ago now. And there was this giant boom of, hey, everyone had Beats. It was all over the place. It was basically the catalyst for social media marketing and what proved it to be so successful. You could take a cheap product, slap a nice premium skin on it, and sell it to the masses for hundreds of dollars, and no one would be the wiser. And probably a good video that encapsulates if you want to learn more about this type of process from Beats. Mr. Who's the Boss did a video. I'll try and link it as well. And he did a good job explaining how Beats came to rise to this massive juggernaut in the headphone space and kind of fell to obscurity after the Apple acquisition. All right, number 2, and this one I was kind of struggling with because I almost thought this was a number 1. But after review, I was like, there's some value to these things. And that's gaming, fill in the blank. Gaming keyboards, mice, chairs. Oh, chairs. I did a review of a gaming chair. Don't ever buy gaming chairs, guys. It doesn't matter the brand. Just gaming chairs are terrible. They're really just there to look pretty. And honestly, most gaming gear is there to look pretty. I mean, check out my little screenshot of my little desktop. It looks pretty nice, and aesthetically, it's not bad. And honestly, the feel of these, also not bad. But we are definitely overpaying for many of these gaming products. I would say we're paying for the RGB is a lot of times the case with many of these gaming products. And it doesn't stop there. That's not really my big point. Why does it get so high on this list is really the companies that back them. Specifically the juggernaut in the space. I'm going to pick on Razer here because just what they've done. Not to say that they are alone in what's happened with the gaming peripheral space, but they are just absolutely the worst company, I think, in the gaming space, and they're the biggest. So let's get on the desktop. I want to show you what they're doing to people that I honestly think they should be investigated because I think there's some criminal activity probably happening with them. But again, that's speculation. Let's just show you what their software is, all their suite, how they're doing business. It's very shady to say the least. So let's start out with just, hey, the software. You get the Synapse thing, usually manage your stuff here. Obviously, I don't really use any of this. I just installed this just to kind of show you the stuff, the purchases I have for my warranty. I don't ever manage any of my gaming products with these types of software because, well, I'll show you here in a second. But I've done like the Black Widow Ultimate Mechanical Keyboard. This is like your higher end, over $100 keyboard. But inevitably, I hated it, and then a couple keys ended up stopped working, and it was beyond the warranty period. So into the trash it went. And then I have like the Essential and the Synosa Lite, which is what I'm using right here, right now. Both these are cheap. This is about $20 or $30 for this, and this one's about $30 or $40, so about $60 altogether, I think is what I was paying. I got both these mainly to do a video over OpenRazer in the Linux environment. I never ended up making that video just because the project itself hadn't matured, and a lot of the components and stuff just didn't work the way I wanted it to, or I thought many people would be interested in that video, to where it just kind of got scrapped. But that's not where Razer starts. The software it has that's built into it, and the Synapses is not great, but again, it's not terrible either. It's when you get into Cortex. which is a glorified system optimizer. And most people that know me know I always am bashing system optimizers because most of them do a terrible job. And this one is definitely no different than those. It has a system booster. It runs consistently in the background. It's doing advertising to you in the form of Razer game deals and saying, hey, you're getting credits and coupons for already overpriced hardware. And then it does like a janky game caster type thing where you're going to just use OBS. There's just a lot of functionality here that it just bloats up your system instead of cleaning it off. So there's no reason for a product like this, but it gets worse. There's also something called Razer Soft Miner. Now, it doesn't technically exist in this name space because they got skewered on YouTube. There was tons of videos saying, hey, Razer's installing viruses on your computer to mine cryptocurrency. That's what they were doing with the Razer Soft Miner. And they were like, okay, well, we need to completely kill this. They obviously had such bad marketing around it and they weren't able to get ahead of it that they had to kill Razer Soft Miner. But did they kill it? And the answer is no, they did not. They just changed the name. When something bad happens, Windows Vista, just slap 7 on it. That's basically what has happened with SoftMiner. They switched the naming convention from Razer SoftMiner to Gamma. Look at this. I mean, are people really this dumb to install this software on there to get pennies for blockchain mining, scientific computing, distributed rendering? You're basically turning over your hardware. Installing a virus to become part of a botnet is basically what you're doing with this software. They are paying you in Razer Silver, some BS currency that basically is advertisement for you to buy more of their products or get a discount on more of their products. Yeah, you're getting paid pennies to basically have $100 or $200 extra slapped on your energy bill to become a blockchain miner for Razer. That's happening right now. I mean, I probably should make a dedicated video going over how terrible this is and actually show people the actual wattage from the wall so you can calculate how much effort in just plain money you're flushing down the toilet to give to Razer. Yeah, I could just go on a complete 10-minute tangent here, so I'm not going to. But it's something to know. Razer's not the only one in the space that does this type of thing with all this software, but they are definitely the worst. I haven't seen anybody that's just nearly this bad. This is some low-hanging fruit. I invite any other YouTuber just to completely skewer Razer, but they may not, because they're a big sponsor of a lot of channels and a lot of different Twitch streamers, that they have a great brand that is frankly doesn't warrant any of that merit. It's just a terrible company, and I would say extremely consumer unfriendly. Now, number one with a bullet is going to be voice assistants. It's always touted to be the future technology. Many of us have gotten it as like stocking stuffers or Secret Santa gifts because they fall in that $30 range. And I'm no exception to this rule. I have several of them. But with news articles about murders being solved because that specific system was listening in why they got murdered, that's cool that they found the murderer. But it's also kind of scary that these things are listening to us. And the functionality of them is frankly not worth the amount of privacy we probably give up to do it. However, like I said, I'm just as guilty as everyone in this regard. There's just something to saying very cool about saying, hey, Alexa, turn studio off. Yeah, that's just neat. I didn't even have to get up and walk over to the switch to turn it off. But I would say it's probably some of the worst tech out there. It's very much just, hey, that's nice, but what am I giving up to have that functionality? And the answer is far too much. That's why it's the worst. And with that said, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.